Hey everyone, welcome to Vinyl Junkies. Hope you guys had a nice weekend. Today's episode will focus on gift guides, the types of things that you vinyl junkies would definitely want people to give you. So we'll give you some hints to drop hints to your loved ones, and this time it's not just records, but what we'll do is we will focus a little bit on gift guides. So that's to say that we'll talk about record bundles, two record bundles that we have, some box sets, speakers, headphones. It's going to be a good one, man. So yeah, if you guys like this type of programming, you know the deal, right? Come in, join us live so that we can actually nerd out. I think I got the system down now so that I can actually read your comments online as they're happening. Merry Christmas to everyone. Hi, Raul. Hi, Morton. But oh, the cat's going crazy. So we may have some Anthrax shenanigans. I can already see that he's full of piss and vinegar. So yeah. Also, it should be said that podcasters, check out Spotify, man. We're actually there. iTunes and the rest. So before I get started, what it is that I'd like to do is just invite all of you to. Christmas can be hard for some people, okay? It's a difficult period of the season, so we understand that, and I personally understand the power of music. So if you're feeling like you need some company, why don't you just come by and hang out with us? Play your records, tell us your stories, and we'll share ours, and we'll get through the holidays through music. How's that? Okay, so check it. I guess it does make sense, but every time Christmas comes around, the focus really starts going a little bit more towards the box sets. Okay, so we will talk about records before anything else. And I think that's pretty cool too, because, you want to get something a little bit extra. It's nice to have that bit of packaging. And, just frankly, box sets are freaking cool, especially when they just accomplish the goal of either putting together a completely kick-ass type compilation or telling a story properly. I've picked out a bunch of box sets that I think do that, so I'll share them with you one by one. Where's my Tom Petty fans? All right, so check it. I'm going to have two Tom Petty goodies to show you. But there are actually more available. So the first one, which I received a couple of weeks ago, is this brick, and it's heavy. The Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers Complete Studio Albums. Now, this is Volume 2. Okay, there is a Volume 1 also, and most of the quote-unquote hits or popular albums are all there for the most part. Okay, Volume 2 focuses on the second half of his career, and frankly, it's the part of his career that I liked the most because it wasn't influenced by radio for me. I got to hear him as a songwriter, and I think the pressure of becoming this hit-making machine just made him a songwriter. Somehow the songs feel more relaxed, and I can relate to them a little more, So yeah, this would be that later part of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Now, yes, of course, I'll open it up so that you can see what it looks like. Very, very cool cover. This is from Reprise Records, so you should be able to see it. Check it, okay? I'll try to bring those spines in as much as possible. That's beautiful. Every single record in this collection is 180-gram vinyl, and they all sound good. This very great care was put into the box. Now, I don't have Volume 1 to show you, but there is a Volume 1, like I said. That's all his earlier career, Damn the Torpedoes and such, and those records will be there. But for Petty people, you got it right here. Now, if that wasn't enough, because there is more Petty. The fact is that I just mentioned two, but there is another Petty compilation called An American Something or Other, but an expansive box set type deal. And then there's this, which came out earlier this year. This was originally released in 2009, but it was repressed this year. So if you look around, I mean, usually around Christmas time, your independent shops and stuff have records that, you know, they prominently display the box sets, because they do sell box sets at this time of the year more than any other. So if you want to see what it is that's involved here, we're going old school, you know. It really gives you remember how it is that I was talking about how the origins of the record album? I'm pretty sure that the marketing behind this was exactly that, to put together a record album in the style of those old Paramount or RCA record albums. They used to house 78s. So I think they really crushed it in terms of the packaging itself. Look, the music is live Petty, okay? And it's actually taken from his entire career. And this was released, like I said, originally in 2009. So he was alive. And he got to pick the songs, and they poured over just tons of live material and picked it out, and from there did kind of like a blow by blow for every song, you know, giving stories if they have recollections and so forth. But all this is to say that if live music is your thing, it's a pretty great retrospective, and it covers the whole period. Then there's the booklet, and the booklet's really old school also, man. This is the recollections that I told you about, you know, pictures. So that's to say that a Tom Petty fan really has, my God, so much to choose from this year. I have volume 2 of the complete anthology and the live Petty and the Heartbreakers, and it's all there, man. It's all there. So those people should be happy. You see that ad that you're seeing right now, those 3 Impulse records? Those records are a bundle, and Org, actually. These are the 2 companies we'll be talking about. Impulse Records put together, me and Matt, as you know, work closely together at Vinyl Me Please, and, you know, we were talking about bundles, because I think bundles are a great way for people to kind of get a feel for music and kind of revolve it around a theme, and it's really cool when you can add some discounts to that. So, you know, Matt was asking if there was anything that I would put together as a bundle, and for me, I went straight for the Impulse bundle. Now, the Impulse bundle is actually 3 records. One is missing here. There's a story behind that. The first one is Archie Shepp, Attica Blues, which is 70s avant-garde music. Very pro-Black Power, very kind of like political on a community level, and freaking awesome. So, you know, if you like kind of like blaxploitation, 70s type vibe, you know, you liked Aretha and Nina Simone during that time when they were really, or James Brown, you know, where pro-black identity was there, this record will smash your brain out. I mean, it's great. Okay, the second one is, actually, we'll get to the second one, which is what you see on the ad over there, the middle one, Journey in Satchidananda, which is a record from Alice Coltrane. Now, Alice Coltrane was married to John Coltrane, as you know, and when he died, she's the one who took over his entire estate and what came out. So you'll notice that there's a lot of John Coltrane records that came out during you know, the 70s. It was all new material, but all that stuff was overseen by Alice Coltrane, his widow. The thing is that it represents a very interesting part of the Impulse story there. You know, what I'm trying to say is that this box set really does a good job of telling you the Impulse story. So, I mean, you guys know I'm crazy for Impulse. Just look behind me. You see all that orange and black? That's all my Impulse stuff, and I just don't stop. So this one, you know, without any John Coltrane records, does, I think, a very good job of putting that together. Alice Coltrane is a very important one because when John Coltrane died, the label was at a bit of an impasse, okay, in the sense that, first of all, they were acquired by ABC, so a whole lot of marketing fuckery happened during that time, but now John Coltrane was dead, right? What are we going to do with the label? So the label started going off in a bunch of different directions, and the directions that they were going was, one of them very much was to carry on the spirit of John Coltrane and the wild spiritual jazz that he really created and people just wanted to carry on the name. So the middle record right there, the Alice Coltrane, is his wife doing that. It gets out there, but in such a glorious way, man. If you haven't had the chance to experience Alice Coltrane on any format, you gotta do it. And that's very possibly the most important record of her catalog, or at least the most famous one, right? So you ask yourself, why don't I have it? The reason I don't have it is because I already thought I had it. I've changed formats so many times that you lose track of what you have and what you don't have. So sometimes the ones that seem like the most obvious would be in your collections are exactly the ones that aren't in your collection because you just, well, fuck, of course I have that. And Journey in Satchidananda is one of those records. I just assumed I had it. So I'm looking forward to getting my copy as well. The third record for folks who want it, a little bit more traditional, but I wouldn't call this a traditional jazz record by any means either. It's Max Roach. And, the title Percussion Bittersweet really does tell you the story, which is to say that percussion is there. It's percussive heavy in certain in certain songs, but it presents as a suite of music, and there's even some vocals in it. And listen, Max Roach was a master. So if you love drums and you love hearing somebody just paint a picture, really paint a picture with their drum kit. There are a few drummers in jazz that do that. They were literal artists. I think of Rashida Lee, and I think of Art Blakey and Philly Joe and a whole lot of others, but I would most certainly, Roach absolutely belongs there. So this, I would think, is as good a record as any in order to get into the world of Max Roach. And the deal is also that they come with something that you guys really should see. Look, basically, what it is that I'm trying to do is talk about records as much as possible, while telling you, this should give you an idea of why I pick the sponsors that I pick, or why my sponsors and I work together. It's about buying into something. It's about believing in the product. This little booklet here is the best part of that fucking experience. I love this little booklet. Check it. This comes with every VMP Classics collection. It's kind of like a little book that tells a story, or kind of like puts in the, fills in the blanks. It gives you something to listen, to read while you're listening to your music. And I absolutely do that. And it's really, it's perfect. You can hold it in one hand and just read along as the music is there, and it fills in the blanks. This nails what vinyl is absolutely all about. If this wasn't around, I know that I'm not the only guy who, looks here and there, maybe checks a Wikipedia or checks other albums. When we're listening to music, a lot of the times, we like to have the blanks filled in. Hey, do you see Anthrax at the corner there? That way? He may make an appearance. This year, best thing to happen to the vinyl experience. Bravo. I absolutely love it. The best part about this package as well is that it's discounted. So everything that I'm talking about over here is basically discounted, and that's good for you folks. It's something that isn't available for Christmas as far as I know, but they do have subscriptions, so you can subscribe to future classics, and what they'll do is send it every month, and they'll send out some kind of email to tell the person that you bought the gift for, hey, somebody thought of you. Can I talk about Sun Ra now? Yes, we're doing more jazz. One question that I get with a lot of artists, but specifically with the types of artists that have a huge catalog. What albums should I start listening to? How should I get into this artist? So I'm thinking about a whole lot of jazz. John Coltrane. Jesus, how do you get somebody into John Coltrane? There are distinct periods in the way he made music. What album should I listen to to get into Miles Davis. That's even harder. And so forth. Right? So Sun Ra is one of those guys because he's really done it all in terms of music, and he's hit so many different styles from big band to Moog freakouts. He was really one of the very first artists to start using the Moog when it first came out. So you know, you hear him messing around with a mini Moog. There's so many different styles to the point where he actually recorded for Disney. He recorded a song for an album called Stay Awake that was available during Record Store Day. I have the original. I didn't think of pulling it out, but basically it's a compilation of artists covering Disney songs, and he does one of them. So the question I get, getting back to it, is how do I get into Sun Ra? Listen, it's so hard. It's so freaking hard because he's done so many things, from just beautiful old school big band and him and piano, you know, to complete avant-garde blowouts. And I think I finally found a solution. Me and Andrew Rossiter of Org Music came together with the idea of a bundle, because I know that Org put out a lot of Sun Ra records, and I thought they did a great job. They sound great, they look great, but you know, if you put all four of them together, that's your answer. That's your answer. You want to get into Sun Ra? Maybe Sun Ra fans will disagree with me, but to me, there's no real, there aren't really records to which you have to have, because Sun Ra is like Frank Zappa. Sun Ra is like Frank Zappa. It's an entire universe. Every album is just a chapter. Every album is just an expression. I guess that's what I'm saying. And that's absolutely the way Sun Ra put forth his message of music and art. And that's the way the message of Sun Ra continues. The Sun Ra Orchestra still performs to this day without Sun Ra, because it's a movement. It's a spirit. It's a vibe. And those that lived around Ra understood this, and they lived for that music. So you see, what Org Music and I did was we put together a little package and discounted it as well. You're going to get these 4 records, and all you got to do is go to orgmusic.merchnow.com, and these will be available. So if you're looking for a way to just kind of get the entire Ra thing put together, I can think of much worse ways than going like this. Believe me, it's a rabbit hole. There are hundreds, I believe, of records. I know that I've got a couple of dozen, and I'm nowhere near done. Why don't we go on to box sets again? You guys want to talk about box sets? Hey, have you bought anybody any vinyl presents? Or are you kind of like hinting towards anybody, hey, you know, buy me this right now because this sounds interesting? I'm curious. I always like to know what you guys have in mind. Nobody ever buys me music because they know I'm almost impossible to buy music for. It's a hard thing. You don't know what I have. You don't know what I like. So I get that. Unless you know that it's like an artist that, get me something Manowar that I don't have, I'm going to want it. Moving on. Ooh, this one's good. So, this came out earlier this year, and I'm assuming that they'll be on the shelves as well. Led Zeppelin, How the West Was Won. This is also a reissue, but it was reissued this year. It's basically a 4 LP set of 2 concerts that took place on the 25th of June 72 at the LA Forum and the 27th of June 72 in Long Beach. And it captures Led Zeppelin at their height, and it's about as essential a live package, I would think, that you'll ever get. It's a beautiful box set as well. Not quite as lavish as the Petty box sets, for example, but you know, you have the records, and oh, actually, yeah, it's not too bad. Here, let me pull that out. 180 gram vinyl as well. This can't possibly be that interesting. Me, like, totally tearing apart my box sets. So this is the piece of paper that they put out in the back, you know, that lays out what the records look like. And this is a kind of poster that they put in for this box set, How the West Was Won. You know, just to kind of give you an idea of the extras. And every record is actually housed in its individual sleeve. They're all kind of looking pretty similar with a little bit of a different color scheme. The reason it is that I didn't catch this right away is because I sleeve all my records properly. That's to say that I put inner sleeves for all my records, and I don't like to see like my edges get beat up, so I kind of take the records out of the actual sleeve so that, and place them on the back so that my album jacket just kind of like remains as a piece of art, which I think it is. So Led Zeppelin fans, How the West Was Won is something you should be seeing around as well. Moving on, we're going to go back to jazz, okay? My favorite box set this year, from a jazz perspective, from a music perspective, because I've actually purchased this before. Like I said, I've gone through one format after another, and there are some artists that I am so enamored with that I have to have it all, you know, or at least a certain period, for example. So, I mean, John Coltrane would be one of those artists, for example. I think, most of his Atlantic catalog, you know, because that's really where he came out on his own. And I have, Jesus, as close to as much of his Impulse catalog as I could possibly have. But I don't have so much of the earlier stuff, because the earlier stuff, well, besides the Miles Davis stuff, the earlier stuff was him just kind of like playing standards, other people's music. He didn't have his voice yet, you know. So it's interesting, of course, but, you know, somehow the Prestige years don't really do it that much for me. Although, if I come across a nice collection of Prestige recordings, I would go for it in a second. So all this is to get to Ornette Coleman. Why? Because Ornette Coleman is one of the most unique voices in jazz music. Ornette Coleman is a language unto itself. You listen to Ornette Coleman and it's pretty immediate who you're listening to. You know, as a matter of fact, if I had to look at, you know, Lisa Simpson during the beginning of The Simpsons, I keep mentioning that because I love that imagery so much, right? Everybody's trying to like da 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 and kind of like go along with the beat while Lisa just goes off onto her own, blowing into her saxophone. I'd like to think that she's either trying to play within an Ornette Coleman type ensemble or John Coltrane, not the later stuff though. So this here is a collection of the Atlantic years, to which that entire rambling I just did about Lisa Simpson really kind of has nothing to do with it. But you ramble in life. Solid box. It's kind of textured. So beautiful. So beautiful. And then we have one more box set, by the way, the Kinks. Beautiful. There's a single. This is basically the entirety of Ornette Coleman's Atlantic output. This was originally released on CD. What the hell was the name of that box set? It was a 6 CD box set, all red, and I can't remember the name of the box set. Beauty is a Rare Thing, is that it? Something like that. But it was a super expensive, lavish box set, and I was thrilled to have it all. And then, of course, you change format, and you want it all on vinyl. So it's all here, all right? This is our music. They're not in order, by the way. Ornette, all his Atlantic years. Ornette on tenor. The Art of the Improvisers. This one's really good. Change of the Century. Twins. Almost done. To Whom the Bell Tolls. I don't have this one. I just got it now, and I'm not familiar with it. I guess I should listen to it. To Whom Who Keeps a Record. Wicked. And very important, very essential. Where it started, the shot across the bow, which is the shape of jazz to come. This is as essential a jazz record as you're ever going to get, released in the most important year in jazz, 1959. That same year, big year for Atlantic Records. That same year, John Coltrane put out the beast that was Giant Steps. That came out that year, and Miles Davis put out Kind of Blue, and my studio is an utter disaster because I'm moving around a bunch of stuff. So we have one more box set to do, and then we're going to go on to gear. I got some cool gear to show you, man. There's stuff to choose from. Here's the box set. Now, I would say this is for completists, but holy smokes, if you want completists, like a lot of people, you know, you talk about Sgt. Pepper's or you talk about the White Album or any of that, a lot of people, including myself ultimately, place a lot of records within that huge pantheon of must-have records from that period. So I think of an album like Love Forever Changes that belongs there for me. Pet Sounds, of course. The Zombies, Odyssey and Oracle, you know, the Zombies who are finally being nominated into the Hall of Fame. And for me, and look, a lot of people, the Kinks are the Village Green. Jesus Christ. Are the Village Green Preservation Society. That's a lot of words. Okay. I am not very familiar with the Kinks catalog, other than I know that the 60s stuff is the stuff that you need to pick up, and this was the one that, you know, I would say is the most important or the most artistically pure. Okay, I first heard this record actually at Amon Tobin's house. You know, Amon Tobin, the electronica artist. There were a few years where he lived in Montreal, and we used to go hang out at his place sometimes and just play Halo, smoke weed, and you know, just play records. And so I remember a lot of the records that he played back then. I retained some of the stuff because they were sounds that I hadn't heard before, and this was one of those records. That was the first time I heard Kinks are the Preservation Village Green Society, whatever the damn record's called. And the thing that I remember most of it from the first time I heard it was Walter. Do you remember Walter? And I've wanted the record ever since, but what happened is that I stopped buying CDs and started buying vinyl, and I just hadn't gotten around to getting it. So here you have a stereo and mono copy of the big album, along with, I think this is a Dutch copy with a different song or different songs on it. Kinks fans are probably saying, this fucking idiot doesn't know the well, that's the whole thing, right? You get to listen to it and you can discover it. Anybody who tells you that they know everything about music is lying to you. There's only so much bandwidth. So a lot of stuff gets past your radar, such as Radiohead for me. I've never heard Radiohead before. So there's a video out about that. What do you guys think? I have 4 Radiohead records that came in. Which ones did I get? It's in the video. Just go watch it. So those are the albums, and check this, man. This is real cool too. These are the books that come. Oh, okay. I guess for CDs, this is the CD pack. This is actually a pack of goodies that they have. So here are the CDs, but they have a sleeve that kind of includes all the 45s. So every possible 45 from the Kinks that they ever released around this time concerning this record is in there. And picture book, and there's this envelope full of goodies. It's so fucking cool. This is kind of like what tells me, okay, well, I'm not sure a package for a Kinks fan really exists. It's going to be more comprehensive than this, because what they did was they also included this package chock full of like posters and glossy photos that they took during that time for promotion. We're talking about, it's like the mother load. Here's a repro of a concert ticket from that time. You know what I'm saying? Huge poster of the centerfold of Village Green. I'm not going to do it now, but huge poster. Take my word for it. Huge, huge, huge. As you hear everything kind of like hit the mic. Postcards. Glossy photos. They really go all out. I would say that, look, I mean, I got this as a promotion, right? So for myself, I can say I was actively looking for a copy of Village Green, and this delivers it in spades. This is basically the most complete package you'll ever find. I'm pretty sure that you're going to find these available at your local indies because they are kind of everywhere. And check out, this is the handbill that I was talking about. This is really cool. Simple as hell, but check it. Awesome. So for Kinks completists or people who kind of like want as much about these huge classic records, and I mean, face it, there's a lot of us out there that do that, right? We're completists. Vinyl junkies like to collect things. It's just the way it is. That's why this stuff is the kind of stuff that we salivate over. Check. Finally, the booklet. I'm not going to go too much into it, but this huge picture booklet that really puts you into the situation, gives you all of the stories, far more than you can expect. There's interviews, actually new interviews with the Kinks, and new essays. So it really, I would say it's for the completist, but in saying that, I would also say that any completist would be absolutely astounded. I can't imagine anything missing from that. And that, friends, would be the box set, the music side of things. Now, the thing is that a lot of us, man, you start buying vinyl, you're always looking to kind of upgrade your system, right? And there's so many different variations, there's so many different parts. It's another language, it can get really complicated. Okay, so what I thought I would do is dedicate this second half to gear. Okay, and tell you about some of the stuff that I've had a chance to check out this year and that I think would work great. Okay, some of it is very clearly from my sponsors. The reason that they are my sponsors is because I believe in the product. Simple as that. Okay, if I didn't believe in the product, we wouldn't work together. You know, you want the name to represent something. So, I guess what we can do is maybe start with here. Live, folks. I know you guys, one of the things that you always ask is, how do I clean my records? Or dirty records, you know, just that whole thing. There are so many different ways of cleaning your records. What do you do? Okay, which is the best system? Well, as far as I'm concerned, okay, there's a bunch of different ways. Okay, first of all, there's the there's the electric machines, and that's another thing altogether. There are a lot of DIY solutions, but that can get costly. Okay? If you're looking for a cheap, very effective way to give your records a quote-unquote bath, this is probably, I would say, by far, actually, not probably, by far the best bang for buck you're going to ever have. It's the vinyl style deep groove washer. Okay, it blows away the competition. I've tried the competition, and I will do a video at one point comparing side to side and letting you know exactly why I think this can't be improved upon. I don't see anything. I use it several times a week. So you have a wheel in which you put in your record, and you got some brushes here. Okay, some hair brushes, which is just awesome. Okay, check. These are hair brushes. Why that's important is because all these little hairs, as the record goes through here, winds up cleaning within the grooves. It's very effective. Okay. And, this is in the middle over here, and you kind of rotate your record, and it takes all the schmutz out while protecting the center label. So this, of course, is exactly the size of a center label with kind of like a rubber, to make sure that the label doesn't get wet. It's really very well thought out and very effective. And if that wasn't enough, check this. By the way, it also comes with some formula. I guess the stuff that you clean with, which is very effective, but I ran out of that ages ago. But this is really cool also. You just pull it out straight from the bottom. It's a drying rack. So you put your records, and it's just You have a drying rack right there. It makes the whole thing is just really brilliantly put together, thought out, and it works. Okay, honestly, I have several different methods of cleaning my records, and there's one tried and true method in my opinion, and that is just giving the record a bath. Period. Okay, because if you're just spraying something on the top, you're not doing the same thing. Okay, you want something to go into the grooves as much as possible and get that out. And for your cheapest solution, I would certainly recommend that vinyl style deep groove washer. You should find it at stores. Vinyl style is actually really good about kind of like branding their stuff so that so that it's easy to find. Okay, so if you see the box, without any doubt, that I use that daily. Okay, and the next step up is for me to put together this entire fucking concoction, this thing that makes the water kind of move so that it kind of like shakes the dirt out of the grooves. This whole fucking system, which I'm crazy enough to go out and do, but I haven't done enough of research on it, and this has served me very well. So, why don't we move on to more gear? Are you enjoying this show? Oh, let's talk speakers. Give me just a sec. You know how this live stuff goes, right? I had to get off because I have two speakers to pick up. There's a company here that makes Bluetooth speakers here out of Vancouver, Canada, called Kanto Audio. And one other question that I get all the time, man, and a lot of you that are new to vinyl are probably asking this type of question also, is, can you recommend speakers? Can you recommend a turntable, and how do you put the whole thing together? It's not as obvious as a lot of a lot of people, it's obvious to us old guys because we grew up putting together stereos, but I would think that people who are getting into vinyl right now didn't really have to deal with stereos too much. Everything went Bluetooth and MP3, and it's been that way for so many years. So this whole vinyl thing creates a demand for setups. Now, some of us have the room to put nice equipment everywhere and wires don't bother us and so forth. That's fine. But the thing is that a lot of people that are listening to vinyl need a much simpler setup. Okay? Minimal wires, really, without no muss, no fuss. And I remember having a conversation about gear years ago. Okay, with a friend, somebody who's from Vinyl Junkies, Brad Lynham. He was saying that, he was trying to put together this idea of, okay, let's see if we can put together a $500 to $600 system, just all in one. You buy it and you're ready to go. And that's really the idea that I get all the time. And, well, in terms of turntables out there, if you really want to get on U-Turn audio, the U-Turn Orbit is definitely a good place to start. And if you combine that with this speaker here, you see, generally you need a phono stage and you need an amp and then you need speakers. There's a whole bunch of things, okay? So the thing is that these are powered speakers, okay? So the amp is built in. And it's also got, the good thing about this speaker is that it's got a preamp in it. So the little piece of equipment that allows you to play vinyl, just amplifies the signal, is built in as well. Okay, so if you're an audiophile and you're looking really, to make a big improvement, then this listen, if you got the space to do it and you got the money to do it, you can go on forever. You know how it works, right? But if you're looking for a good way to get started, these Kanto audio speakers are pretty fantastic. Because all you got to do literally is plug and play. You plug everything to the back. Check this, okay? Now, these are two speakers. These are the bigger ones, the YU6s or the U6s. But check out the back, man. It's pretty brilliant. First of all, like I said, all the power is down here at the bottom of the box. So you plug this right in and you just turn it on. And basically, the only thing that you have is a wire right down at the bottom of this piece right here. And Check it. Why don't I actually prop it up like this so that you can you? Yeah, that works. Okay. So you'll notice that it's just one wire that connects the two speakers, and you have the left and right there that you put your turntable right in. And you'll notice that there's a plug that says phono and aux. Okay, so you can either play an iPod through it if you want, type of thing, or it's got Bluetooth connectivity, which is to say also that any device connects so easily. But the good thing about this is, if you're looking for simple, you're getting simple. It's all there. Optical cables are there. You plug your turntable in, you put everything, you're ready to go. As simple as that. And I think that there's not enough of that in the industry. And look, I haven't had 1,000 things to test. And I'm not really an audiophile. I'm not somebody, I mean, I have some nice vintage speakers and stuff, but I'm not somebody who's obsessed with audio. I just want my records to sound good, and once it reaches a certain level, I'm kind of cool with it, right? I would recommend these heartily. Now, the ones that have the preamp already in, okay, are the Y6s, the YU6s, these ones, the YU4. The smaller ones are desktop, those don't. Okay, another thing that I should mention is, what's cool with this is because there is the auxiliary, that means that you don't necessarily have to use the built-in phono stage in here. And I tried it, I tested it. What you can do is you can turn that off and put your own phono stage. So when you're looking at a point of upgrading your sound, for example, there still is that possibility of putting a good phono stage. I actually use it with a proper phono stage, but you know what it is that I hear coming out of the box is good. So you're looking for bang for buck and really something simple, these Kanto Audio work real simple. If you're really looking for something a lot more compact, there's this here, the Kanto SID, which is basically the same thing, but it's one speaker. Also Bluetooth, but and actually also phono and line in. So believe it or not, there's a phono stage to this, and I use this here upstairs for my secondary turntable. You'll notice also that there's a USB key. It's a charging dock. Okay, so this is another powered speaker that really does the job. It should be said also that I like the build of Kanto. They feel really solid. And I mean, if you take a look at it, look, you know, those are silk dome tweeters, Kevlar speakers like the B&Ws. It's a nice design. They look good, and actually this here comes with kind of like a stand that points it up. It's a pretty sharp little design, and again, another way for somebody to kind of put together a vinyl package with using up as little space as possible. Okay. You get yourself a U-turn Orbit turntable with that, you're going to be good. What else are we going to talk about? Okay, we're going to talk about probably the best piece of equipment that I've tested in the years. Look, it's simple. It's so good, I want to sell it in our web shop when we get that up. And it's this here. You've probably seen it when I post up our pictures, but this Headshell right here, it's called a Nasaltech. Okay, it's the Nasaltech Swing Headshell. And if you'll notice, I'll try to get as close as possible so you can really see it. You see that? What it is kind of like a spring-mounted headshell that's so ultra precise that it picks up all the micro grooves and it adjusts itself so precisely that your tracking immediately improves. I'm not kidding, man. I'm not kidding. Immediately. It's just, think about this as being more precise tone arm that you put at the tip of your tone arm. Okay. No matter what system, if it's a system where it is that you're able to just untwist the head shell and add this, it's expensive. It's $330. If you're looking for an absolute upgrade immediately, no fail, no bullshit, this here is amazing. I got two of them. I love this thing, and the minute it is that I can put it in the store, I'm going to put it in the store. That's how much I believe in the product. The Nasotech Swing Headshell. I think right now there's highendaudio.com that you can get it from. But look for it. I'm going to be doing a proper review, and I heartily endorse. We're nearing the end of the show, but not before we get to one more piece of equipment and then some stocking stuffers. There's a company out of Denmark called AI. I've spoken to you about them. What it is that they've done is put together a headphone system that allows you to interchange parts for whatever your needs are. And I thought that was the most brilliant thing in the world. What I mean by that is, rather than sell you a headphone, a solid headphone, kind of like these here, these Sennheiser 650s, right? You buy every part individually depending on what you want, okay? So you can customize, for example, this here, you'll notice there are buttons on it. This is a Bluetooth headset. Just the most brilliant, easy to pair thing you've ever seen in your freaking life. Okay, there you go. You see it's already in pair mode, and you notice it stopped. It automatically picked up a signal. It really works very well, but it's ultra comfortable, and every part of the thing is customizable, which is to say the cushion here, if you like a smaller cushion, you can get a smaller cushion. The headphones, they have 3 different types of headphones. Now, depending on what you want. So they have kind of like their competitor to Dre Beats if you want bass response, if you want something a little more neutral. And they have the quote-unquote, a little bit more audiophile. What I would like to see, I'm so into this design you could not believe, but what it is that I would like to see is an upgrade on even better speakers, because this can go anywhere. You can literally check it, man. You see, what you do is you can remove, everything comes apart. It's crazy, man. Check it. Everything comes apart. So, and they all come in separate little bags that you kind of put together. This is the wireless one, but there's an area at the bottom of the speaker where you can put in the wire as well. Okay, so check it. The unboxing is really cool here as well. This is a second set that I got for a certain someone at Christmas time who's been asking for a headset. But this will kind of show you the unboxing. You know, it's very similar to like iPhone. Really, it's quite a beautiful type of box. Something that presents well at Christmas time. Okay. But just to show you how it is that they sell, like I said, I think you can get it only on their website, ai.dk. Okay. Your box comes with a bunch of these bags here, because every punchy, you see, S02, every module comes separately, every cable comes separately, every headset comes separately. Now, I didn't open the other ones because, like I said, it's intended as a gift, and AI asked me to do a review of it, and I thought the best way to do a review of it is give a kid in high school a chance to mess around with it and let them tell you what they think. So a review is going to come up. I'm going to see. I also want to test them out a little bit more, with vinyl, with a more wired setup. I haven't had the time to do it. And so, look, we're near the end of the show, but not before we get into some stocking stuffers. The stocking stuffers are cheap. It's an affordable way of just doing something nice. And there's a couple of them. One which I would suggest, of course, is we have some awesome stickers. Come on, man. We have awesome stickers. We really do. I'll send you a set of stickers. Just visit our website, vinyljunkies.co. They're there. They're nice. Another thing that's going to come up with this winter, it comes up every winter. As a matter of fact, I've told myself for a while that I've needed to put it together, but I'm going to put together a show on what to do about static. Because as the air dries up, you start catching all sorts of static in your sound. What can you do to reduce that? There are a few things, okay? One thing that does work is, and here, Vinyl Style basically has a series of accessories that are made for people, basically it's stuff to make sure that you take care of your vinyl right. Okay, the first thing that they have is here this Cork Mat. Now, I didn't take it out because I wanted to be able to show it to you, so I kept it together for marketing. But it's a Cork Mat, and the reason Cork Mats work is because they automatically cut static. They help cut static. So, you know, as a needle, as your cartridge kind of like just keeps going into the groove, it starts accumulating static. Basically, a dry room starts accumulating static charge. So that is certainly one thing that would help, putting down a cork mat. Now, if I can find it, and I will, I found it. Of course I found it. There's another thing that we can do. In terms of brushes, I get asked what types of brushes do I use. Look, the fact is that brushes could be a topic all on its own, something. If you're looking for an easy all-in-one solution, this is pretty easy. Okay, this gives it all to you. It's you know, the vinyl record care kit. Now the deal with this is that it has a bunch of things that, I mean, first of all, it presents very well. Like I said, it's a stocking stuffer. It's something really pretty. Okay, but it's got a few different things. Okay, so you'll notice there's 3 different brushes. Okay, the first one is this here. Okay, this is kind of like a brush with a little bit of a velvet cover. That's really to just remove dust. That's really what that's for. Okay, and it comes with record cleaning fluid. So, you know, the idea is that you put some record cleaning fluid here and on the record and you clean it. Now, I don't really use the fluid because, like I said, I give my records a bath. I clean my records properly. This system is only for like little smudges, nothing more. It's not effective for proper cleaning, but it's very effective for removing flecks of paper and dust. That is the point of this brush right here. Okay. Then there's the anti-static brush, which again, to remove static. Simple as that. So the idea is that you put it down on your record and run it across. You don't have to push hard, just a little bit, and it removes all the static. So that's the second brush. And then the third brush is the one that I'm kind of enamored with, but this is a stylus brush, and it makes a difference. Think about it, right? Stylus is going through a groove. There's all sorts of dirt in those grooves, especially the older the records get. That schmutz winds up getting caught up on your stylus. So what they did was they put this together, and it's pretty simple. It's this little brush that you're able to clean your stylus off with a bit of liquid that you can apply either directly, very carefully, or here at the tip of your brush, and then you run it up against your turntable's stylus. It's effective because that's one thing that I don't know. It seems like such a small little thing. It's something that I don't see very much of in terms of these kits. So it was nice to see that it's there. You know, stylus care counts. So in this particular thing here, it's all here. It's all simple. It's so freaking simple. You understand? And I think, could I be done? Could I be done? We might be done over here. I might have forgotten something. I hope I haven't forgotten something. There are shows coming. There are still best of shows coming. There's so much stuff. It looks like we're going to be jam-packed at the end. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. And happy holidays. Like I said, man, you guys need somewhere to hang out. You come and hang out. You come and play some records. We'll be there all the holiday long to keep you company. Peace, folks.